Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is great to have you with us.
It is.
So if you're listening to this, it's probably around February 4th, 2026. And if you've looked at your phone or turned on a TV or even just walked past a newsstand today, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, yes. It's the story that just refuses to go away.
The story that really haunts this entire decade. We are, of course, talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
And I think for a lot of people, the first question is just confusion. Didn't he die back in 2019?
Exactly. Why is this the #1 trend on social media right now in 2026? So our mission today is, well, it's twofold. First, we're going to navigate this huge, complex news event of the release of the Epstein Files.
And try to separate the facts from all the hysteria online.
Yes. And second, because this is a special deep dive for our global listeners learning English, we want to use this story to really upgrade your vocabulary.
It's a great opportunity. This topic is, it's full of legal jargon, media buzzwords, and these complex ideas that are just crucial for understanding high-level English.
We're going to break it all down piece by piece. We want you to finish this feeling confident, like you get the news, and you have some new, powerful words in your pocket.
So let's start there. The big question, why now? What actually happened this week?
What brought a dead man back to the front page?
Well, it's the result of a massive release of information. You might hear people on the news calling it a data dump.
Okay, that's our first key term right there. Data dump.
It sounds a bit messy, doesn't it?
It is messy, and that's by design. Think about the word data. That just means information, facts, numbers, documents.
Right.
But the word dump, to dump something means to drop it heavily, carelessly, all at once, like a big truck backing up and just dropping a ton of trash in your driveway. That's a dump.
So it's not a neat little folder, it's an avalanche of information.
Precisely. In our digital age, a data dump is when a huge amount of information gets released to the public all at the same time. And that is what the U.S. government did this January. Millions of pages.
And this wasn't an accident, right? This didn't just leak. No, this was forced by a new law, the Epstein Files Transparency Act.
Transparency. That's a word you hear politicians use constantly. It sounds really important.
It's a huge buzzword in government, in business. Transparency literally means the quality of being easy to see through, like a clean window. It's transparent.
So for a government, it means they're not hiding secrets.
Exactly. They're being open, they're holding their actions up so the public can see them. So this Transparency Act was a law designed to force them to open the curtains and show us the documents.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's lay out the roadmap for today. We have this mountain of data. How are we going to tackle it?
We're going to do this logically. First, we have to revisit the man himself, who is Jeffrey Epstein. Then we'll get into what's actually in these new files.
And we have to talk about the internet's obsession, the client list, and explain why that's maybe a misleading term.
Yes. And finally, we have to look at the mystery that still surrounds his death.
It is a dark story, no doubt. But let's start at the beginning. For anyone who maybe wasn't following the news back then or just needs a refresher, who was Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, to understand the scandal, you have to understand the mask he wore. Before the world knew him as a criminal, Epstein was known as a financier.
Financier. That's a sophisticated word. It sounds very French.
It is from French originally. A financier is just someone who manages a very large amounts of money, usually for governments, big corporations, or, incredibly wealthy people.
And with Epstein, it was always a bit of a mystery whose money he was actually managing.
It was, but the result was undeniable. He was a billionaire. He had this incredible life, a huge house in New York, a private island in the Caribbean.
That private island, Little St. James, so infamous now.
And all that wealth allowed him to become a socialite.
There's another one of those words you see in magazines. What exactly is a socialite?
A socialite is someone who's famous, well, for being famous and for being social. Their job is attending fashionable parties and being seen with important people. And Epstein was a master at this. He was with scientists, movie stars, world leaders.
So that was the cover, the shiny surface that everyone saw.
Exactly. But underneath that, we now know he was a sexual predator. He was running a complex sex trafficking operation.
We need to be really clear on this term because it has a specific legal meaning. What is sex trafficking?
Sex trafficking is when you force or trick or coerce people into sexual slavery. The victims are not free. And in Epstein's case, it was just horrific because many of the victims were minors. They were underage girls.
He was caught once before, in 2008, but he got what you'd call a slap on the wrist. A very, very light punishment.
He did. Which brings us to 2019. He gets arrested again, this time on federal charges in New York. The system was finally catching up to him.
He was denied bail, sitting in a high-security jail cell, awaiting trial.
I thought that should never happen.
No. On August 10th, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell.
And we are definitely going to get to the theories around his death. It's a huge topic. But first, let's fast forward to right now, 2026. We have this data dump. 3 million documents. What are we actually looking at? Is it just boring paperwork?
Yeah, what's in there?
It's a mix. Some of it is mundane, which just means boring or ordinary, but some of it is explosive. You've got 3 main types of documents. First, emails, thousands of them.
Okay.
Second, the flight logs.
The records of his private planes, right?
Correct. The logs show exactly who was flying with him to his homes, to his island.
And the third category.
This is the most damaging. Depositions.
That is a heavy legal word. Deposition. What exactly is that?
A deposition is like a trial before the real trial. It's a formal interview recorded usually on camera. A witness sits in a room with lawyers on both sides, and they are placed under oath.
Under oath? Meaning they legally promised to tell the truth.
Yes. They are sworn to tell the truth. If they lie, it's a crime. And in these depositions, they are grilled with questions.
So it is not a casual chat.
Not at all. It's intense. And these files are full of the transcripts, the videos of these depositions. This is where you see people getting very uncomfortable, answering questions about who they saw on the island.
And this brings us to the names, the part everyone is talking about.
The names are what everyone is looking for. And yes, the files mention former U.S. presidents. They mention tech billionaires like Bill Gates and Elon Musk, and royalty like Prince Andrew from the UK.
Okay, I want to pause here. Because this is where the internet just explodes. People see a name on a flight log and they immediately jump to guilty, criminal.
And that's a very dangerous instinct. We need to introduce a really critical idea here for everyone listening. It's the difference between association and guilt.
Let's break that down. Association versus guilt.
Association just means a connection. It means you know someone, you went to a dinner party at their house, maybe you took a ride on their plane, you are associated with them.
And guilt.
Guilt means you participated in the crime. You did something wrong.
So you can be associated with a criminal without being a criminal yourself.
Exactly. Let's use an analogy. Imagine your neighbor turns out to be a bank robber. Now, you borrowed his lawnmower last week. You waved to him every morning. You even went to his barbecue.
Okay, so I'd be associated with him.
Right. But does borrowing his lawnmower mean you helped rob the bank? Of course not.
No.
So when we look at these files, just because a famous person's name appears, it does not automatically mean they were involved in sex trafficking.
It might just show bad judgment.
Embarrassing, for sure. Bad judgment, absolutely. But that's not the same as a crime.
But this nuance gets lost online.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the client list. I see that hashtag everywhere. Hashtag release the client list. People think there's a specific piece of paper with every name on it.
And we have to do a firm fact check here. There is no single client list.
Say that again for everyone. There is no list.
It does not exist. Epstein didn't keep a neat spreadsheet titled, people I did crimes with.
So where are all these names coming from?
People are building the list themselves, stitching it together from thousands of different documents. Flight logs, emails, the depositions, and importantly, those documents include everyone.
Who's everyone?
Victims, police officers who are investigating him, his pilots, his housekeepers. So if you see a list online with 200 names, you have to be very, very skeptical. Being mentioned in a file doesn't make you a client.
Right. You have to be critical thinkers. However, not everyone in those files is innocent. There are scandals where the evidence goes way beyond just association. You mentioned Prince Andrew.
Yes, that's a case where the line gets much thinner. The files contain specific testimony from witnesses accusing him of specific acts. There are photos. It goes far beyond just, I met him at a party.
And the files also show how Epstein kept this all going for so long. It wasn't just charm. It was money.
Massive amounts of money. He paid people to stay silent. We have a great term for this in English, hush money.
I love that term. It's so descriptive. Let's define it.
Well, hush is what you say to someone to tell them to be quiet, right? Hush now. So hush money is a bribe paid to someone to keep them from revealing a secret.
He bought their silence.
He did. He paid victims. He settled lawsuits. He created a wall of silence with cash. And for a long, long time, it worked.
Until it didn't. Which brings us to the end of his life. And even though he died 7 years ago, the debate is hotter now than it ever was.
And this brings us into the world of conspiracy theories.
Let's define that, because that word gets thrown around a lot.
A conspiracy theory is a belief that a secret, powerful group is responsible for some big event. Instead of the simple official story, they believe there was a hidden plot.
And Epstein's death is probably the biggest conspiracy theory of the last decade.
It really is. I mean, first, the official story. The medical examiner ruled it a suicide by hanging. Case closed.
But there are a lot of skeptics.
A lot. A skeptic is just someone who questions or doubts the official story. And in this case, the skeptics have a lot of material to work with.
The details do sound like they're from a bad movie.
They do. I mean, he was the most famous prisoner in America. He had powerful enemies. And yet, on the night he died, the 2 cameras outside his cell both malfunctioned.
Convenient.
Very. And the 2 guards who were supposed to check on him every 30 minutes, they admitted they fell asleep and then faked the records.
The cameras break, the guards fall asleep, and the man who holds all the secrets ends up dead. You can see why people are suspicious.
Absolutely. And then there's the medical evidence. This gets a bit technical, but skeptics always point to the hyoid bone.
That's a small bone in your neck, correct?
It is. And the autopsy found that Epstein's hyoid bone was broken.
Why is that a big deal?
Because a broken hyoid bone is often a sign of strangulation, of murder. It's much less common in a suicide by hanging.
So that's the smoking gun. It proves he was murdered.
Not quite. And we have to be objective here. Medical experts say that while it's rare, it can happen in suicides, especially in older men. Epstein was 66, so the broken bone is very suspicious, but it isn't definitive proof.
And because it's all so unclear, the rumors go wild. I actually saw one resurfacing this year in 2026 that he's still alive.
Ah, yes, the drone photo theory. It's been all over social media this month. A grainy picture, supposedly from a drone, showing a man who looks a bit like Epstein on an island somewhere.
Is there any truth to that at all?
There is 0 verified evidence. His body was identified by fingerprints and dental records. The photo is almost certainly a fake or just a look-alike.
So we could put the he's alive theory to bed.
I think so. That theory is a distraction. The real credible debate isn't, is he alive? The question that really matters is, did he kill himself or was he murdered to stop him from talking?
And that's the question that haunts this entire story. If he was murdered, it implies that someone was powerful enough to kill a witness inside a federal prison.
Exactly. It implies the whole system is compromised.
Which brings us back to the files. We have 3 million pages, we have names, we have facts. But as we wrap this up, What is the main theme here? If there's one word that connects all of this, what is it?
If I had to pick one word to summarize the entire Epstein saga, it would be impunity.
Impunity. That's a very strong word. Can you define that for us?
Impunity means exemption from punishment. It comes from Latin roots meaning without punishment. It means you can do something bad, something illegal, and face no consequences.
Because you're too rich or too powerful or too connected?
That's it exactly. It's the idea that laws are for other people. The Epstein Files reveal a world where the super rich operated with total impunity for decades.
And even the justice system, like with that 2008 sentence, seemed to bend around them. That's a perfect example of impunity.
It is. And now, with these files, that impunity is finally being challenged. But notice I said challenged, not defeated.
Right. Because seeing a name in a file is not the same as seeing someone in handcuffs.
Exactly. Transparency is the first step. But transparency isn't justice. Justice needs action.
Before we sign off, let's do a quick rapid-fire review of a few other key words that people will see in the news.
Sure, great idea.
First up, resurfacing.
To resurface means to come back to the top, to become visible again. This old story about Epstein is resurfacing now because of the new files.
Okay, next, allegations. You see this everywhere.
An allegation is a claim that someone did something wrong, but, and this is key, it hasn't been proven in court yet. It's an allegation until there's a verdict.
How about redacted? We see those black bars on documents.
Yes, if a document is redacted, it means sensitive information has been blacked out or censored. You'll see lots of black bars covering names and phone numbers in the Epstein files.
And finally, a very serious one, perjury.
Perjury is the crime of lying under oath. Remember those depositions. If a witness swears to tell the truth and then lies, they are committing perjury. It's a felony.
Those are excellent words to know. They really unlock the meaning behind the headlines.
They do. Once you know words like impunity and deposition, you can read the news and really understand the nuances.
So we've covered the man, the data dump, the rumors, and the mystery of his death. And even though he's gone, these files leave us with one burning question.
They do. The question is, will anyone else be punished? He didn't act alone. He had enablers, friends, clients.
The files are out. The secrets are exposed. But will the system that protected him for so long actually hold anyone else accountable?
Or does impunity still rule the day? That is something for you, the listener, to think about as you watch this all unfold.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you feel a little more informed about the world and a bit more confident in your English.
And please check the show notes. We've listed all the vocabulary there so you can review it, practice using them.
Maybe not hush money at the dinner table, but transparency is always a good one.
Your point.
Until next time, stay curious.
Goodbye, everyone.